Yo, when you're watching an episode of one of the most successful reality shows on American television, do you think of how big of a team of people work for this family? But if I told you that it's not all glamour, laughter, and happy faces, would you believe me? Well, just ask the Kardashian-Jenner clan's former nannies and assistants what a day of work looks like for their former employees. Believe me, my dear curious sippers, you don't want to miss this video where I'll tell you all about what the Kardashian-Jenner employees had to do. But before we get into this, don't forget to subscribe to Curious Sips and turn on the notifications to be up to date with all of our new videos. Are you ready? Let's begin then. Alright, certainly more than one of you have wondered what it was like to work for the Kardashian-Jenner family, and what you need to do to get a job for a famous clan. Well, unfortunately, I don't have good news for you. Getting a job there is not easy, and when you succeed, you must be ready for many sacrifices. Although in some cases, you have to admit, the prize can make up for everything. First of all, if you expect to find the job offer among other advertisements, I'm immediately telling you that you're wasting your time. To enter this selected circle, you need the recommendation of someone you've already worked for. And not only that, you also need to gain the full trust and approval of your hypothetical employer. But do you think that's all? Of course not. I'm talking about the Kardashian-Jenners. As Stephanie Shepard, Kim's former assistant, told Refinery29, her former boss had to make sure that the candidate had undergone a series of relevant tests to ensure that she employs a healthy person. Well, this isn't that surprising, right? In the end, this chosen person becomes a regular visitor to their property and spends a lot of time at their house, with their children, and close to her husband. Okay, let's imagine that we've already got a recommendation and passed all the necessary tests. So what now? Well, the next step is a $1 million confidentiality agreement, or more precisely, a contract containing a fine of as much as $10 million. It may be weird for you, but contrary to what it may seem, nothing is more important to this family than the privacy of each of its members. Unless, of course, they decide what they want to show or receive a juicy sum for that. However, none of the employees can benefit from closeness. Why this huge sum of $10 million of a possible punishment? The thing is simple. The point is to make sure that none of the employees are tempted to reveal the details and secrets of the most popular family in show business. For this reason, according to some reports, if you dare to, for example, sell information to the press or publish photos of Stormi, you will have to pay these $10 million for causing damages. The strange thing is that it seems that none of the former nannies or former assistants mention something about the Lucky contract. Well, apparently that's because there's also a huge clause prohibiting the disclosure of this kind of information. As you can see, my curious sippers, it's not easy to work for the Kardashians. You have to be careful and you have to be on good terms with this family. But if you lost your desire to work, don't be discouraged, cause that's all. It's not just bans and $1 million for revealing information. For example, the animal lovers would certainly be delighted. There are many pets in this family who are eager to show love, play, and be pampered with. But there are always some positive aspects that go hand in hand with some of the negative ones. And yes, each family member has their own requirements. For example, the eldest Kardashian sister, Kourtney, according to OK Magazine, in addition to following a number of protocols, some more stringent than others, her assistants and nannies must call her Madam Kourtney. Well, apparently, she's a fan of tradition and good manners. But well, what importance can these requirements have when you receive Christmas presents such as those that only the Kardashian-Jenner sisters and their mother give to their co-workers? Every year, Mommy Kris tries to make the Christmas time extraordinary and very special for everyone. So Kris, who in addition to pampering the whole staff that makes up her work team, becomes wonderful at Christmas and makes each of her employees receive something small, accompanied of course by a suitable and obligatory Christmas card full of wishes for them and their loved ones. Remember how I recently mentioned Stephanie Shepard? Well, let's go back to her for a minute. Kim's former assistant confessed that although many people think that everything in the life of the Kardashian family is great, well, it's not, and employees don't have easy work to do. And according to Stephanie, being Kim's assistant means carrying lots of suitcases and makeup bags back and forth all the time, all just to make her employer always look radiant and impeccable. She'd rather die than take off her makeup. So with such a stressful and demanding job, you'd think that the employees had some time off. They'd rather ask, time off what? Well, I'll have to tell you. Shepard not only didn't have a moment to rest, but she couldn't even maintain a relationship with anyone for 2 years when she worked for Kim. Although, well, if you call it that, one of the advantages of spending an enormous amount of time with the members of the Kardashian-Jenner clan is undoubtedly being able to discover all their secrets. For example, now that we're talking about Kim, several articles were published in 2016 which ensured that both Kanye and the new Mrs. West did everything that's necessary to make their workers, nannies, and assistants also do everything necessary to make their family look as perfect as a real Swiss watch. In fact, according to information from E! Online, in 2015, one of the main tasks of the Kardashian-West nanny team was to always be on standby. The thing was to make sure that when one of the celebrities' children started to cry or had an anger attack, it was usually the nanny who took care of the child's bad mood as fast as possible. Therefore, according to the report in the Mirror in 2016, going out with the family is an absolute nightmare. I can only imagine. Have you ever tried to control a child's anger attack? But how about we leave Kim alone and talk about the youngest in the clan? As for the billionaire Kylie Jenner, thanks to the beauty industry, there was a huge fuss in 2016 when the hashtag spoiled teenager started circulating online. It referred to many spoiled teenagers, mainly nobody else of course, Kylie Jenner herself. According to the explanations of Look magazine, it was all because of what one of the former assistants of the youngest Jenner sisters said. According to her, Kylie was a naughty and despotic child locked in a diva's body. Every morning she had to make the same milkshake for her, and if this poor girl dared to ask what she wanted, the answer was, "You should know." Isn't that a scandalous way of treating people? But if you thought we were done with the subject, you must know that we are not even close. This is because according to many reports, among those confirmed by the above-mentioned former assistants and former nannies, also according to Celeb Buzz, being a member of the Kardashian-Jenner team means being available 24/7. Time simply does not exist, and work schedules are an unrealistic concept. Well, so unrealistic that according to the same version, the nannies were woken up in the middle of the night without prior notice. What for? To go on a trip to Paris. One time, they even had to fly to Tokyo so Kim could arrive early at her morning photo shoot. You might think it's great to travel and still get paid for it, but it's not all that colorful. And according to Stephanie Shepard, traveling is far from being like a hike exploring the world. It's more like living in hell with the blessings of Kardashian-West family. And well, even though we've already said we'll leave the topic of Mrs. West, she'll still make it very difficult for us. And that's because according to her unhappy former employees, it's very hard to satisfy her. She's a perfectionist, and everything must be perfect. If she doesn't like something, her employees must act so that she ultimately satisfied with the result. Well, not to drag this story on for too long, I'll just say that rumor has it that Kim Kardashian can't even hang up her own clothes, and even for that, she needs her maids. Oh, I know, nails are very expensive, and they break so easily. Anyway, I told you family associates must be ready to travel at any time to different cities in the world. This was also the case with the trip to Paris, the capital of France, which is unfortunately remembered in an infamous way. Of course, I mean the terrible incident when Kim arrived at Fashion Week in October of 2016 and was brutally attacked in the hotel room where she stayed. Well, as Stephanie Shepard told Refinery29, after a shocking experience, fear was in the air surrounded by the family, so they had to take extreme security measures. Stephanie's exact words were, "We have alarms and security plans and all that. Still, whenever I had to stay home alone, I get a little scared, so I did get a couple of extra pepper sprays." As you can see, being an employee of cruelly rich people may not be safe. So tell me, what do you think of working for the Kardashian looks like now? Have you been aware of all the hardships their staff members face? What do you find most interesting in working for this clan? Let's talk about it in the comments, and remember to like and share and become part of our Curious Tips family by subscribing to our channel. Until next time.